Hi, my name is Lucas. I'm 36 years old, and I'm a doctor from Chicago. What I want to share with you today is my personal story, a confession about events that completely turned my life upside down, about the destructive power of forbidden attraction, about mistakes, regrets, and the search for redemption. Perhaps my bitter experience will save someone from repeating my mistakes. My wife Emily and I met in medical school. We were immediately drawn to each other. Common interests and goals, mutual understanding, passion. A year after graduation, we got married, and 2 years later, our daughter Sophie was born. Life seemed perfect. A loving family, an interesting job, a nice house. I considered myself a truly happy person. When Sophie turned 3, Emily unexpectedly became interested in journalism. She said she was tired of staying at home with the child and wanted to fulfill herself. I supported her aspirations, helped her get a job at a local newspaper. At first, everything went wonderfully. Emily blossomed. She was doing great. She quickly started being sent on business trips. At first, not far, and not for long, then further and longer. At first, I managed. I adjusted my schedule to her travels, took time off work, hired a nanny for Sophie. But gradually, I began to feel burdened by endless separations, and my daughter missed her mom. Emily and I started growing apart. We argued more often over trifles, losing emotional intimacy. Our sex life also dwindled to nothing. It was at such a difficult moment that Alice, Emily's mother, came to visit us. She was about 55, but she looked amazing, well-groomed, fit, with a lively sparkle in her eyes. Alice was also a doctor and always impressed me with her intelligence and competence. We often discussed medical issues, the latest achievements in our field. She admired my professionalism, considered me the best husband for her daughter. Alice loved to fuss over her granddaughter and took on most of the care for her. I was immensely grateful to her for her help and support. We started spending a lot of time together, walking in the park, shopping, preparing dinner while Emily was away at work. It was very easy and comfortable with Alice. She knew how to keep a conversation, joke, comfort with a kind word. Without Emily, our house seemed empty, but Alice's presence brightened the loneliness. One day, Alice offered to help me organize a medical seminar that I had been planning for a long time. She said she had a lot of experience in this and many useful connections. I happily agreed. Preparation began, sending invitations, booking the venue, selecting speakers. We stayed up late, enthusiastically discussing details. At some point, I realized that it was much more interesting for me to talk to Alice than to my own wife. The closeness happened imperceptibly, gradually. Accidental touches, long glances, ambiguous phrases. It seemed to me that the air between us was electrified, sparking with tension. I caught myself looking forward to our evening get-togethers, anticipating the scent of Alice's perfume, the curve of her neck above her blouse collar. I knew it was wrong. I drove away unbidden fantasies, but I couldn't help it. One day, when we stayed especially late, Alice suddenly took my hand and said quietly, "What a pity you're not my husband." These words seemed to break the dam that had been holding back our feelings. We reached for each other like beasts starved for affection. At that moment, nothing mattered. Neither my wedding vow of fidelity, nor the age difference, nor the fact that Alice was my wife's mother. There was only mad, all-consuming passion. The next few weeks merged into one sweet haze. We found any excuse to be alone. Additional work on the seminar, urgent shopping, walks with Sophie. We hurriedly engaged in intimacy, whispering words of admiration, flinching at every rustle. It was madness, and at the same time the greatest joy I had ever experienced. Very soon the feeling of guilt became unbearable. I was torn between my duty to my family and my attraction to Alice. I couldn't look my wife and daughter in the eye. At night I was tormented by nightmares in which Emily found out about the infidelity and left me forever, taking Sophie. I imagined the disappointment of friends and relatives, the shame that would fall upon us. I thought about how I was betraying not only my wife, but also the Hippocratic oath, because I was causing pain to those closest to me. But I couldn't live without Alice anymore. Only with her did I feel like a real man, loved and desired. Our spiritual and physical union seemed inseparable. We understood each other without words, with half a word. Sometimes I caught myself thinking that this was the person I should have tied my life to. that fate had brought us together, albeit in such a whimsical way. In the end, I decided to have an honest conversation with Emily. I confessed that I had fallen in love with another woman and wanted to start a new life. I said that we were too different, and our marriage had long since cracked, that I no longer had the strength to maintain the appearance of a happy family, that our daughter deserves to see not hypocritical and estranged parents next to her, but sincerely loving people. Emily's reaction shocked me. She suddenly laughed and said that she had known everything from the very beginning, both about my affair on the side and that it was with her mother. It turned out that she had long had a lover colleague and didn't want scandals, so she turned a blind eye to my romance with Alice. But learning that I was going to leave her for her mother, she became furious. Then a real hell began. Hysterics, accusations, threats. Offended female pride and hurt daughter's feelings mixed into one tangle of hatred. I had no idea that my soft, calm Emily was capable of such fury, of such cruelty. She screamed that she would destroy me and Alice, that I would never see Sophie again, that she would burn us both off the face of the earth. But the worst thing was that she decided to tell everything to my relatives and colleagues, portraying me as the last scoundrel and pervert. Soon the whole town was gossiping about this scandalous story. Wherever I went, I ran into sidelong glances, whispers behind my back, outright contempt. People turned away from me as if from a leper, as if afraid to get dirty. The atmosphere at work also became oppressive. Colleagues shunned me. Patients went to other doctors. It came to outright insults and mockery. In the end, the chief physician called me in and insistently asked me to write a letter of resignation of my own free will. They said such a scandal casts a shadow on the reputation of the entire hospital. The hardest thing was parting with Sophie. Emily categorically forbade me to see my daughter, turned her against me. My heart was breaking when I thought about the little one growing up without knowing fatherly love and care, that instead of joyful hugs, my empty rooms were greeting her. I tried to go to court for custody rights, but it was no match for a son against a father. In an instant, I lost literally everything. Family, daughter, work, good name. I was left a laughingstock and an outcast in my hometown. I myself destroyed my life, betrayed everything that was dear to me. For what? For a fleeting passion that blinded reason? Now Alice and I had become strangers. Too heavy a burden of guilt and public condemnation stood between us. I spent many months at the very bottom of despair. I started drinking, gave up, lost hope. I hated myself for what I had done, for how meanly I had treated my loved ones. More than once or twice I thought about ending my worthless life. Only the understanding that I would break Sophie's heart even more, that she would be ashamed of such a father, stopped me. Gradually, the embers of repentance began to fade, turning into the bitter ashes of resignation. I realized that I had to live for my daughter, for her future. That guilt could be atoned for in only one way, by becoming the best father I could possibly be, even at the cost of giving up any relationships with women, at the cost of a lonely and sorrowful life. The first thing I did was seek help from a psychologist. I needed to sort myself out, understand the reasons for my fall, learn to live with guilt. Then I gathered my will into a fist and moved to another city, away from the bad reputation. I got a job at a local hospital, immersed myself in work. I started attending church, seeking consolation in faith and prayer. I devoted every free minute to getting closer to Sophie. I wrote her letters and postcards almost daily, even if I didn't get an answer. I sent gifts and treats, tried to keep up with all her affairs and hobbies. When Emily began to soften a little, she allowed rare phone calls and meetings. With each month and year, my life gradually improved. I was valued at my new job. I regained my peace of mind. Emily married her colleague and allowed me to see Sophie more often. My daughter gradually got used to me, began to trust more. I tried my best to justify this trust, to be a support, advisor, and friend. Now, 6 years later, I can say that I have atoned for at least part of my guilt. No, that terrible mistake can't be corrected. Its consequences will stay with me forever. Every morning I wake up with the awareness of the sin committed and live with it. But I have learned to accept myself as I am, to learn lessons from falls. The main thing is that I managed to preserve and even strengthen the bond with Sophie. She grew up to be a wonderful, kind, and caring person. She recently entered medical college, wants to follow in my footsteps. I'm bursting with fatherly pride and hope that at least she will manage to live a worthy and righteous life. The moral of this sad story is simple and painfully banal. Value what you have, cherish your loved ones. Fight for your family. Don't give in to the call of passions and temptations. Know when to stop. Realize the destructiveness of the forbidden path. After all, the price for a moment of weakness can be exorbitantly high. Believe me, I experienced this firsthand. But even if you stumble, don't despair. Don't give up. Everyone has a chance for redemption, for a new life. This path will be long and thorny, but it must be walked, for those who are dear to you, for your own soul. No matter how ashamed and bitter you feel, you need to get up and move forward, even if slowly, even if stumbling and looking back. But you must definitely go. Find the strength in yourself to ask forgiveness from those you have hurt. Try to make amends for the evil caused, even at the cost of giving up your own happiness. Become the best version of yourself, a caring parent, a reliable friend, a kind and responsive person. Let your actions atone for past sins, and let love and selflessness become the light leading through the darkness of your guilt. I still can't forgive myself completely. Probably never will. This weight will remain with me as a reminder of an irreparable mistake. But I have learned to live with it, found some semblance of peace. My consolation is in prayer and a child's smile, in the gratitude of patience, in quiet hope for the best. Take care of your loved ones, friends. Listen to the voice of conscience. Don't give in to the cunning whispers of vice. Don't exchange the priceless for the fleeting. Don't destroy what you've been creating for years. Love devotedly and selflessly, without looking back at the past. And may my bitter lesson save you from irreparable mistakes. And to those who have already stumbled and fallen, I want to say, get up. No matter how hard and shameful it is, no matter how much you want to lie down and not move. Go forward. Correct what you've done. Believe in forgiveness. As long as you breathe, you have a chance. Life is given once. Don't waste it. Find the courage to live for your loved ones. And may the merciful God have mercy on us all. Forgive me, Emily and Sophie. I loved you more than life, and I'm very guilty before you. But I will try to atone for my guilt before you and God until my last breath. For without you, my life is dust and decay. Your forgiveness and love, that's what I will strive for as long as my heart beats. Thank you for not leaving me in the darkest days, for giving me a chance for redemption. I don't know how I deserved such mercy. This is such a complicated story of my fall and repentance, dear friends. Believe me, I've been through real hell and I'm still paying for my sin every day. Now my life is a long road of atonement and solitude, but I accept this penance with humility as a deserved cross, and I will carry it as long as necessary. Let my confession serve as a warning to you. Live honestly, love faithfully, don't make irreparable mistakes. Keep your families as the apple of your eye. Don't exchange real feelings for false passions. But even if you stumble, don't despair. Find the strength in yourself to live and atone for guilt, and believe that sooner or later you will be rewarded for repentance. Be happy and take care of each other. And pray for me, for I am sinful. Thank you for listening to my bitter story. I hope it will save your families from grief and your souls from sin. God bless you. Did you like this story? Let us know in the comments what you liked. Subscribe to our storytelling podcast. Also, don't forget to like and ring the bell so you don't miss more interesting stories. See you soon.